Welcome to our expert talk from the Immersive Experience Studio in Walldorf. Today's focus is empower the intelligent and sustainable enterprise with finance and risk. We will talk about strategy, innovations, and execution. I'm Yannick Peterschmitt, the head of Product Success Enablement team, and I'm joined today with colleagues from the engineering organization. Hi Christoph, thanks for being with us today.
Hi Yannick, nice meeting you.
Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your role at SAP?
Sure. I'm heading the product management for finance and risk in the engineering organization, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Now to you, Katrin, good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Katrin Deissner, and I'm a product manager for GRC topics around S4HANA.
Beautiful, thank you. And Uli?
Yes, hi Yannick, hi colleagues. Hello to the audience listening in. Yeah, I'm Uli, now 25 years with SAP, and I'm a product manager for finance.
Great to have you guys here. So, very important topic today, very relevant for all of our customers, as finance is always the cornerstone of every ERP project. At SAP, we want to enable organizations to become intelligent and sustainable. This is the pillar one of our strategy. The pillar two is to bring enterprise together in a global business network to achieve the supply chain resilience. And the pillar number three is that we together want to create a sustainable world, or a more sustainable world. The topic of the day is how can the finance and GRC portfolio help our customers and beyond, the customers of our customers, become a sustainable, intelligent enterprise. I'd like to start with the questions to you, Christoph. How are we concretely helping?
Yeah, it's in the area of a business transformation our customers are in today. I think we can, from SAP perspective, help customers achieve their goals in the business transformation space. And this is first and foremost along the entire space of business steering. We intend to augment the capabilities for our customers here by integrating into the supply chain world on the one side, but then at the same time allow for a more predictive and simulative approach for our customers so that they can look into the future more and more from an automated perspective. Okay. So this would be one aspect. Then when we look into our customer base, we see that new business models arrive, right? So customers want to drive their service business in the future more and more, and we from an SAP perspective support them doing so by integrating and enabling these new business models from a finance perspective. And then this is being revenue recognition, this is around planning, and this is throughout the entire quote-to-cash process. And then the processes of our customers have to become intelligent. So to enable what you described as the transformation towards an intelligent and sustainable enterprise. And in this intelligent automation, we support our customers by enabling their processes to run automatically and lights out, if you will, whenever possible.
Okay. Thanks, Christoph. Let's pause here a second with the strategy and have a look at some concrete examples. So, Uli, would be great if you can give some example in the space of augmented business steering where customer can already benefit from those innovations.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Yannick, my pleasure. So we continuously extended our predefined SAP financial planning and simulation content that is delivered kind of out of the box together with SAP Analytics Cloud. And one highlight recently delivered is that this content now covers additional processes that integrate financial planning with logistic planning and other planning areas. And we leverage the so-called prediction of SAP Analytics Cloud, applied prediction, which translates into an out-of-the-box predictive liquidity forecast where cash managers can now predict their future liquidity based on historical data, existing budgets, and explicit influencing factors such as energy prices, for example. And with these models in place, they can effectively analyze their future cash flow to understand if the company needs to search for funding or has surplus cash flows. So even if the forecasting cash flows from existing invoices and orders might not be sufficient. And a second example I would like to talk about is the review booklets in the space of financial analytics. In financial analytics, this single financial a source of truth is delivered in many ways to the end users. There has been a lot of focus on flexible analysis using both the embedded analytical capabilities in SAP S/4HANA Cloud, but also the ones provided by SAP Analytics Cloud. And for standard business questions, we now deliver predefined review booklets which are targeted at non-technical users and managers. And the thing is that these booklets are very easy to use and provide answers to standard business questions. So this year, for example, in 2022, we started this journey and provided a first booklet in the space of group reporting for group controllers, which has been very well perceived by our customers. And now we are extending this concept also to sales controllers. So what you can see here, for example, on the screen is that there are review booklets now in preparation for profit center as well as service margin analysis.
Thanks, Uli. Great example. Thanks for naming those three. Now we'd like to go back to the second pillar of the strategy. I'm looking at you again, and Christoph. How does finance and risk concretely help with supply chain resilience?
Yeah. In the space of supply chain resilience, you might also ask, well, what's the role of finance in here?
Exactly.
Right? And it's particularly looking into the risk aspects of the supply chains. And what we intend to provide is a risk-adjusted management of this entire value chain. So to really allow our customers to harden the resilience in their operations and increasing the visibility and controls around their supply chains. Secondly, when you think of a supply chain, then everything around taxes becoming more interesting for customers, and the trade aspects are relevant, as well as the entire space of treasury and payments, right? So a holistic tax, trade, and treasury portfolio is what we intend to provide. And the last aspect here is that we, from a finance perspective, are able to create more insights, more visibility along the value chains with our value chain analysis, also based on capabilities in central finance.
Christoph, this sounds really great. Looking now at you, Katrin, and let's talk product after this explanation from Christoph. What do you concretely have in store to achieve this supply chain resilience with the GRC portfolio?
We have actually various innovations for supply chain resilience. Some minutes ago, Christoph mentioned that an important factor to achieve this resilience is risk-adjusted management. I fully agree. Absolutely vital for a company to have full visibility regarding business processes. And absolutely key here is obviously also the visibility regarding the business risks a company faces, and also about the control side of the house, meaning to make sure that the company has adequate controls in place, for example, to minimize the risk of non-compliance with regulations such as SOX, or to prevent fraud, for example. So we have several ones.
Good. Great. Can you please name a few so a customer can really see how concrete a strategy can be turned in an innovation that can later on implement with SAP's portfolio?
Yeah, happy to do so. So one innovation, for example, is from financial compliance management, which is our control solution in the cloud. And the beauty of the solution is, on the one hand, that it comes with a rich predefined business content for S/4HANA and S/4HANA Cloud for automated and manual controls. And on the other hand, and this is where I'm coming back to the visibility topic, it provides predefined SAP Analytics Cloud stories, which provide exactly this transparency on a company's control situation. So compliance managers have full visibility into, for example, which controls does the company have in place, who's responsible, how often do these controls run, with how many issues do they come up, which is obviously the reason why we have them, find issues, and also in which time frames do these issues come up. So this gives really great insights. And with the latest release, we have complemented the existing end-to-end business process with predefined task and task list templates. so you can use them and adapt them. So in things, thanks to this, you really can really efficiently tackling the processing of the issues which arise from running these controls. You can do this really in a structured, workflow-driven approach, and of course you can tailor it to the needs of your company, right? So that was one example regarding the visibility of controls. Now I would like to focus on visibility regarding risks, which is also, as Christoph mentioned, an important factor for supply chain resilience. And here I would like to take as an example the new risk response service from SAP Privacy Governance. And on the one hand, we have the risk service, which allows you to maintain and assess risks, and the new risk response service really complements this by allowing you to maintain and assign so-called risk responses, and they also include actions to your risks. So let's take a practical example. We have a risk which could be called loss of personal data, which is obviously something that you would like to prevent in the light of GDPR and
Of course.
huge fines. So we could have this as a risk, and then the corresponding risk response could then be to have a employee privacy awareness training, and assigned to this you would then have certain actions which you need to take in order to come up with this response. And this could be then, for example, to create training materials, to conduct a training actually. And yeah, the actions are obviously meant to reduce the likelihood or the impact or the impact of the respective risk. Yeah, and then I have a third example, and this is also regarding risk-driven management, but this time for cybersecurity risks. Also from privacy governance, we have a new service which is called the GRC Asset Service. And as the name reveals it already, it's about maintaining an inventory of your IT-related assets. IT-related assets would be company laptops, mobiles, and so on. You can maintain them with predefined or custom asset types, assign an owner, and also maintain security objectives. And what is also important about the service is that it allows you to perform a risk analysis of, so to find out about the criticality of your assets. And especially in the light of rising cybersecurity threats, I guess this service can really contribute when it's about achieving supply chain resilience. So.
Thanks a lot, Katrin. I think those three examples make it very concrete, very tangible. We all know it's not a simple topic, so there's no simple answer.
No.
But with this portfolio, I think SAP provides a straightforward portfolio to help optimize the supply chain and aim at this this resilience. Uli, I'm looking at you right now. When Christoph talked about the customer imperative supply chain analysis, he mentioned the topic of value chain analysis. So what is that exactly? Can you explain a bit? Can you give us concrete example, or what are the innovations behind that terms?
Yeah, thank you, Yannick, for this question. Very important topic for the customers. As you know, it's currently very essential for customers to have visibility into their global value chain to maintain their competitive advantage along a more maybe not so resilient value chain, supply chain, to make the necessary adjustments if needed. And with what we call universal parallel accounting, we now lay the foundation for a global value chain analysis. And what does it mean? You can prepare and present financial statements for different sets of accounting standards across the end-to-end processes. This is achieved by using so-called parallel ledgers that resolve many restrictions from the past, by improving steering effectiveness and by providing a simplified configuration. How is this realized? So for each ledger, you can perform valuations and reporting on one accounting standard, and thus benefit from consistent value flows and a complete audit trails to fulfill local and group-wide reporting requirements. And from now on, processes which were previously relying on what we call leading ledger values calculate and post their values now by ledger. Let me give you an example. What you see here is an end-to-end processes for self-manufactured assets. And in the area of inventory accounting, for example, it allows the parallel representation of different accounting principles for standard costs and the valuation of work in process, finished goods, inventories, and cost of goods sold at actual costs. And in production accounting, for example, it allows the parallel representation of different accounting principles for the consumption of input material, provision of manufacturing activities, and assignment of overhead calculation. And lastly, in overhead management, it allows the parallel representation of different accounting principles in the assignment of overhead costs from projects to cost centers or assets, as well as the allocation of costs between cost centers.
Okay, thank you, Uli. Now looking at you, Christoph, we all know that we monitor our company along 3 lines: the bottom line, the top line, and there's the green line. And this year at Sapphire, Christian Klein, our CEO, talked about the green ledger. Can you tell us a bit more about the green ledger and especially the role of the CFO in the larger context leveraging those new tools?
Yeah, sure, Yannick. So what we observe in the market is that more and more regulations expect a finance-grade reporting, meaning, let's say, really concretely outlining the environmental impact of an organization's operations, right? And then secondly, this means that sustainability, the topic of sustainability, more and more shifts into the area of the CFO. And why is that? Because the CFO has all the instruments and all the experience in reporting results from an enterprise to the outside world, to all the stakeholders involved, right? And what we answer to this, to these observations, is that we intend to really provide our customers with a more reliable means for the entire organization to really report to stakeholders in a way that the capital market can rely on these numbers which are reported, right? So that this is what I mean by IFRS grade reporting. So in the very same way like we can trust the IFRS numbers, we want to equip our customers with the very same instruments for the environmental reporting regulations which come up. And this can work in 3 areas as let's say, a first wave, if you will. One would be that we provide a turnkey visibility for the ESG performance, ESG meaning environmental, social, and governance topics. It's not limited to environmental topics, but it's starting there, if you will, right? So that controls, which we heard of in the GRC space, audit support, and assured operations, can then leverage what the outcome is from our existing solutions. And we've heard a lot about the controls framework, the security aspects, and we want to leverage this for the ESG space as well. And secondly, customers need to trade emissions certificates. So whenever there's operations which cannot fully avoid the emissions, then customers will eventually need certificates for allowances and then also in a way to compensate for the CO2 emissions they create. And for all this trading, when you look into this, it's quite comparable to financial instruments trading. So we want to again leverage what we have in the treasury space available when customers deal with financial instruments, also for the ESG world. So carbon trading can be supported there. And the nice thing here is that all the valuation, which we need also for these certificates, can be leveraged as well, because in the treasury space we do also valuations on financial instruments, and we can then take advantage of the existing integration into the accounting space. The largest and deepest topic, and this is what Christian Klein referred to in the Green Ledger announcement at Sapphire, is that customers will eventually expect, and the regulators as well, that we account for emissions in a true sense. So really looking into the accounting world, that we really do postings with debits and credits, so that we really can be sure that what we have in the books, if you will, is true. It's really reflecting the reality. We're not there yet, right? So this is a long way, But this is clearly what we intend to achieve, that a posting is enhanced by a view from an environmental perspective, so that CO2 also goes into the posting, if you will, and enlarges the dimensionality which we typically use in a normal posting. And this dimensionality then is stored and let's say accounted for in the green ledger. This is the green aspect, is calculated there, is valuated there, and it's stored there in a finance way. And this is the, let's say, new level of quality we see here. And as you can see, this is not just a minimal enhancement here, but a major shift, right? So for 500 years, accounting has looked into debits and credits only, and now we have a new dimension, which is CO2 or CO2 equivalents, and they have to go in there as well. So you see the dimension of this shift and enhancement. It's some refer to it as a revolution also in accounting. But we are well prepared here because, as you know, as also our customers are well experienced in that space, we know CO, so we know the controlling topics. So we are well equipped to also support in the CO2 world.
Correct.
Christoph, thanks so much. I understand, though, this is not like an incremental enhancement, but a larger vision support with a clear roadmap from the SAP side, and we're really looking forward to the future, soon to come, deliver on that. We might update our audience, by the way, on this one. Thanks so much for outlining the strategy for finance and risk, and thanks to you, Katrin, and Uli for the example. The last question goes, I think, to you, Uli.
Okay.
How can those innovation can be consumed by a client? We talk about software as a service. What does that mean concretely for?
Yes, of course, Yannick, my pleasure to answer to this question. With SAP S/4HANA for Finance and Risk, we provide a modular steering platform, a kind of mission control center that combines multiple elements such as analytics, prediction, and risk-enabled processes, leveraging all these intelligent technologies. And they are all based on the same business foundation, the universal journal. And it can be consumed step by step and is available across all deployment options of SAP S/4HANA. Is it on-premise? Is it the private cloud edition? Is it the public cloud edition? We call it also our unfair advantage.
I think these are great closing words. Thanks a lot, Uli. So what I take with me is that not only the strategy, but the execution is not going along a deployment mode or another, but it's really for all the customers running SAP Finance and GRC portfolio. Right. Thanks a lot, guys. It was a pleasure for me to be with you, Christoph, Katrin, and Uli. Hope to see you soon on that stage, maybe to give an update on the execution side. And to you, thanks again for watching. If you like this episode as much as I did, of course, provide us feedback at the email insidesf4@sap.com. And we're looking forward to further discussion directly afterwards in the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition community. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned and see you soon. Bye-bye.